Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and today we're going to be taking a look at another Animus within Etheria Restart and how you kind of want to build her in the early game as well as kind of planning her out in the end game. And this is going to be my number one reroll target on launch, a character that I pretty much must have on my account. And we're going to take a look at her, and that is going to be Lily. I think she's a big target a lot of people want. One of the big reasons she's such a big reroll target for me and others that want to reroll is the fact there is no current way at launch of the game to guarantee a copy of her. The only way you can acquire her is getting lucky on either the standard banner or the permanent standard banner or the permanent light dark banner, but you get very few pulls for the light dark banner, so you need to get extremely lucky on the normal banner to get her, and that is why she is going to be a number one reroll target for many people. All the light dark units are kind of in that situation except Messiah. Now, with Lily, the big reason she is my reroll target when you look at her kit is she is all about turn manipulation. Even her basic attack, which she can do every single turn, has turn manipulation, doing damage to the enemies, and then having a % chance to increase the turn meter for herself and the ally with the lowest turn meter, which is when it's the most useful, bringing them up forward a little bit. And then allies with her twin trick buff that she can apply has a 100% chance to do a support type attack. But then when you look at her other skills here, both of them have some form of turn or speed manipulation. You have this applying twin trick, which is that one buff she applies to your teammates, increases the turn meter of whoever has it every time she acts, and she can only apply it to one target, but that's going to be your main damage dealer. She's doing that, and every time she acts, increases their turn meter. Plus, then she can apply speed to your team, and then if they already had twin trick, so if you apply it again onto them, now they get crit damage on top of that. And then she applies speed 30%. So massive buffs to not only turn meter here as well as speed. But then you have her last one here. And so this one is she does damage to all enemies. She can extend all skill cooldowns by one turn, which is really nice. This is not exactly a turn manipulation skill, but this is now a skill manipulation one to keep cooldowns going for longer, which is kind of in a sense the same thing, and because you're basically getting more value out of any skills you're using. And then also the potential to reset all skill cooldowns for ally with Twin Trick. Twin Trick's going to be your main damage dealer. If she can reset their skill cooldowns, that's usually going to be like their big damage dealer, and that means they can just do another big hit on top of it. So overall, a very, very good support in the game. Now, when it comes to building her, I think she's actually going to be fairly straightforward in building her because she is a support character. Biggest things you want her to do is be going as many times as you can with her, as well as keeping her alive. Those are the main two things. I'm not too worried about her damage at all, just keeping her alive and keeping her able to go. And so when we go ahead and look in here at the archive and go to the modules and kind of look at all the sets, there's some main ones that I kind of look at in the beginning. One easy one that you can maybe get just for some survivability if you get it when you're just throwing on the big initial pieces. I think Wellspring will be okay. Just get her some HP right off the bat. But I think the most important one, once you start getting the sets for her, is going to be Swift Rush. And that's just because of the speed buff. In the beginning, I'm just throwing everything Swift Rush I can get on top of her, hopefully getting it up to that 12 as soon as possible for the extra speed. That's just going to make the campaign a lot easier alongside with her on there. And then when it comes to survivability, I look like the entire speed / skill cooldown sets are like all the ones I'm kind of looking at for her. So we have the Swift Rush one, but the other one that I really like, and I think is going to be useful, and I think you're going to want it at least on one of your members of your team, is going to be Time Weave. Now this one you're not getting towards the end game, so this may be an end game one that you're looking at. But the big thing with Time Weave is she does want that effective accuracy to apply that the ability to extend the skill cooldowns. But then also you have, at the start of turn, there's a 35% chance to reduce the cooldown of all Animus skills by one turn. So just another way to reset your skill cooldowns. She already has that kind of built into her kit, so I don't know if this may be something you want to put on somebody else, but I think this could have its value at some point in the end game, depending on how you build her. But I think Swift Rush is the best there. But then the other one that I'm looking at as well is going to be a Swift Smite. You get that effective accuracy. Like I said, she does want effective accuracy, but you also get some plus speed. So I think of the main two I'd say is Swift Smite and then Swift Rush, and then you kind of work from there depending on your needs. You have like tank survivability. Like I really liked Bloodbath on Tiamat. I think it'd be very good on her as well. It gives her effective resistance, so she's not getting debuffed very easily, as well as making her have a higher effective HP, where once she gets below a certain level, she's now taking significantly less damage. So I think that one is pretty good as well if you want some survivability. But this one is more of an endgame one as well. I think just all around beginning game, Swift Rush. Nothing but Swift Rush. Because you're going to need 12 points to get the max benefit out of that, which is going to take like a majority of your slots up from there. And then everything other than that, I would say maybe just for survivability, maybe give her some Wellspring just to top her off a little bit of HP until you start unlocking these better ones down the line once you start attacking the mythic level bosses. Overall, I think she's very easy to build in that aspect because I just want her to be very fast and not die. Everything else is going to be kind of coming to my DPS when it comes to the other sets there. And then that brings into consideration the shells you want to kind of look at for her. Now, when it comes to the shells, I think it's going to be fairly straightforward, at least on the starting and early ones you want to use. For the rares, I don't really care. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. Just throw whatever you get on her for some substats so that you can beat the bosses to start getting into your unique and epic ones, because you're going to move off rare fairly quickly. And when it comes to the unique, there's none that I can find that are better than Star for Lily, and that is because this one has the cooldown reduction built into it. Before they take action, reduces their next skill cooldown by 1 turn, and then increases the turn meter by 10%. Just kind of fits with her entire kit here. You're not going to have this one very long, but it is going to work alongside her. You do have Swift Rush in it as well, and if you need a little bit more defense, you could just, I guess, fill out Unbreakable. Nothing too crazy here. You're not going to be having it on for her for very long, because then the next big one that you're going to go to is your epics, and on here, I think this one's also fairly straightforward for her on your epics, and I think you're going to want to go with Black Fang for her. It just fits her entire kit, speed, and turn manipulation on Black Fang. And this one is, after the owner takes an action, performs a follow-up attack, so the Black Fang's going to do some attack, and then applies a 2-turn speed to Lily, and then increases her turn meter by 16%, so just another way to speed her up overall. Really like that on him. So that'll be the one I'll be getting here, and then you can kind of see you have Swift Rush in this one, as well as Wellspring and Unbreakable, so you're having your tanking and speed built into here, and even has Bramble, which I don't really care much for her since she's not, I don't care about her damage, but these three right here I think are quite fine. However you want to go, you get your speed, and then you can kind of go whichever direction to kind of make her a little bit tankier, because I want to make her fast and I want to keep her alive. And then after that, once you've built her with that and you're able to start beating the mythic bosses and start getting mythic drops, that's where you're starting to kind of get into the point where it's going to depend on the situation, whether it's PvE, PvP, or the direction you're going to go with her on the team. Maybe you need her to be more defensive on the team she's on, or more offensive on the team she wants to go on. And so one of the big first ones I've seen on here, one that I actually like the look of too, I think is one of the cooler animuses in the game, Codex of Magic. And so this one's a cooldown reduction one. So this one is before the owner acts, unleashes the owner's animus full potential, making their next skill cost no cooldown, and increases their speed by an additional 10% for 2 turns. So really big on the cooldown reduction on it. Now it's an 8-turn cooldown on this. So this is like a one-trick pony, but it is a do this skill, and then you pretty much have, it doesn't cost the cooldown at all, so you'll be able to do that skill again pretty much right away. Depending on the skill with hers, that means you can upkeep some of her others, upkeep her turn meter manipulation in the beginning and get you a huge advantage. I think this one's going to be big for PvP in that case. And then when you kind of look, because the other important parts of your matrices are what are available for your sets here. And so you have Swift Rush here. That's a big one that I really like, that speed plus 35. But then you also have Swift Smite, another really big one that I like, accuracy as well as speed. And then you have like a mix of other ones in here that I could see being good. Bloodbath being potentially good. This one's going to be very defensive for her. I think a very good endgame one for PvP, because Lily's going to be a high target unit. Like, if I'm fighting against somebody that has Lily, I want to kill Lily because she's speeding up their team. So Bloodbath can make it a little bit easier to keep her alive with that effective resistance, and then making it where if she takes so much damage within a turn, the remaining damage she takes is reduced by 55%. And then you have a bunch of these other little ones here that you can see as well. You have Strive, which gives her a little bit of defense, but then if she gets attacked, increases turn meter by 10%. So she's getting attacked, she can move up in the turn order a little bit quicker, and possibly go before someone else, which can save you the turn. So overall, all of the set pieces that you can get on her are in him. Has a really, really good skill, although very limited with it having an 8-turn cooldown on it. But overall, very good one for her. But then you have some other ones here. And let's see here. We have Jackal Guard, which is another really good one for her. This is another speed turn manipulation one that will be good for her. This one has a shorter cooldown, so you might be able to pull this one off more than once, especially in PvP, depending on how long the fight's going. So this one is after the owner takes action, performs a follow-up attack on the main target, dealing some damage, and then applying a 3-turn increased speed to the owner Animus and increasing their turn meter by 25%. So just massive speed and turn meter increase. Everything she loves right there. And then when you actually look at the set pieces in here, you pretty much have all the same ones that I really like. You got Swift Rush, you have Swift Smite, you have Bloodbath. You have Time Weave, which is another good one, potentially, depending on if you want to get like that all-turn skill cooldown reduction. I don't know how well this one's going to work with Lily, though, since she already kind of has a little bit of something like this built into her, and I don't think they can stack in that capacity, but I do really like this one. And then you have Bulwark, potentially, getting that immunity for 1 turn. So pretty much everything she could want is in here overall. So very good. Like, you can get a set, like you can get it where you're utilizing every single one of the matrices in here. And I think that's going to be important for the end game, that all 3 of the matrices that you pull on it are being used in a set. That's how you're going to min-max your character. And so I think Jackal Guard is another really good one for her in that capacity. And then we can see here another good one will be Dark Moon here. It's a debuff single damage one. Before the owner takes action, deals 2 hits of some damage to the target with the highest attack, and extends the duration of non-controlled debuffs inflicted by the owner this turn. And that's going to be the kind of key thing with that one, is extending the duration of non-controlled debuffs on the units, and then increases the owner's Animus effective accuracy in the current turn. And what's really good with that is she needs that accuracy for applying that 55% chance to reduce cooldowns, I believe. So overall, really good on her. This is like my least favorite of the groups, though. I definitely really like Codex of Magic and Jackal of Guard over Dark Moon, but I think you can have some say on Dark Moon, especially if you pull the correct ones in here, because this does have Swift Rush, Swift Smite, Bloodbath, and all these other speed ones in there. So it does have the right matrices and sets, but I definitely think I like Codex Matrix and Jackal Guard better, but that will have its uses potentially in PvP depending on how it's playing out. And then you have like the most defensive one. This is one I think I'll probably say on every single unit, and this may be a very defensive PvP one to go with. And this is one where you can remove debuffs off of yourself before the owner takes action. If the owner has any debuffs, dispels 2 debuffs and increases their effective resistance by 25% for every 1 debuff dispelled. I think the big thing with this one, if you're going to use Alicorn on any of your units, it's really going to depend on the PvP and what the meta is in that capacity. If it's a very heavy debuff focused meta where that's like what a majority of people are focusing on, I think Alicorn has a high potential to be kind of a counter to that. In that, I mean, not only can you remove the debuffs, then you make yourself very effective at preventing them with effective resistance. And then the other thing, this one has everything you want in there: Swift Rush, Swift Smite, Bloodbath, as well as some of these other ones, Bramble, Strive, Time Weave, all different good variations of sets that you can use on Lily for going into the end game. But that is that there. And that is pretty much it on the sets for Lily. Lily, I think, is going to be very easy to build. There's all kinds of different ways you can approach it. And then when we get into PvP, so once launch comes out, I'm going to be revisiting all the characters, at least the ones that I get on global, because PvP is going to be very unique, and we're going to have to talk about what's the current meta teams, what is everybody using, and that's going to change how you want to gear them up for PvE. But for PvP, like we just seen, it's very simple to me. You just want to get her really fast, and you want to keep her alive. And that is pretty much it. All her work is support for your other teams doing their damage. But yeah, that is Lily. Definitely my #1 target for coming on into launch. So I'm pretty sure I will have her at the start of the game, unless I get insanely lucky and get like Doki Doki, Heinrich, Tiamat, and like another like 4 units and not her on my reroll. And it's just like, yeah, I kind of have to accept it, because Doki Doki is another good one that will be acceptable on a reroll. But very likely that I will go with a Lily, depending on my luck on my rerolls. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.